Hi, welcome to Inside the Moms Club, where being a mom is the coolest place to be. Here in the Moms Club, we believe that what embarrasses you now will make a great story later. And let's face it, you don't laugh sometimes, you're gonna cry. Join us in having a good laugh together. I'm Monica Samuels. You are now inside the Moms Club, your private destination for all things mom.
If you see me running, stop me.
Welcome, moms. Welcome to Inside the Moms Club. I'm your host, Monica Samuels, and I'm here with my co-host, Julie Orchid. Hello, Julie.
So thrilled to be here.
It's fun to be here. Now, we have been traveling so much.
Yes.
I mean, I've been going from one trip to the next.
Yeah.
And a few weeks ago, I was scheduled to go to Disney World because we have an annual trip with my mother, sister, and niece to the Epcot Food and Wine Festival.
Beautiful.
And there was a hurricane coming.
Oh, yes.
Hurricane Milton. And I guess your daughter is in Orlando. So Georgia.
I have a daughter working for Universal Orlando.
And what did you do when you heard the hurricane was coming?
Listen, I was out Saturday night. Was feeling a little rough on Sunday morning, not going to lie. Rolled over and I was like, oh, Lord. She's only 22, but she's, adult teen-ish. And I called her. I said, you're on a flight tonight. She goes, I'm going to ride this out. Okay, no one. You don't know what's gonna happen, and you need to come home. I mean, your job is not going to be going on. So I couldn't deal with it at the time. I rolled over. I said, call me back in an hour when you have your head screwed on straight. And she got on the flight.
And so while you were doing that,
yeah,
I was.
Oh God, I forgot.
Looking
you were doing
at
this.
YouTube videos on how you get through a hurricane at Walt Disney World. And then I researched on REI, like, what do you buy to take with you if you're going to a hurricane?
I envision you like wearing the long yellow with the hat, like on the salt container, flying into the hurricane, trying to just get it done.
The next day, my sister, when we were supposed to leave, and I said, how are we going to do this? And she said, Monica, we are not flying to a hurricane.
Yeah, take your 82-year-old mother into a hurricane. That sounds great.
Yeah. So thank goodness I had wiser people in charge of me. But I get to reschedule my trip.
You did go. And
last
you're the only
week,
person I know who owns these.
Well, okay. I'm just saying, Disney is upping their ear games.
Okay.
Now, this is a podcast, so for those on YouTube can see. So if you're into food... This is the Dole Whip.
Oh, I get it.
See?
Again, you are the only person I know who has those. Uh-huh.
Oh, well, you want to know what's even... Okay, talk about limited edition special. I'm the queen shopper of
everything in life.
America, actually. Dooney and Burke has come out with these limited edition. I'm protecting these with my life.
I'm sure those were cheap. Yeah.
No, they
leather.
Weren't. So don't tell my husband.
I won't tell him.
Leather... Mickey Mouse ears.
I mean, they're everything, Monica. I mean, I
have to admit, I'm a little embarrassed wearing them right now because they don't match my outfit. But aren't they great?
They're fantastic. Yeah. They came with their own case. I mean, yeah.
They're very special. So there you go.
You should be buried in those. I think that's what I say.
No, I don't think so. But believe it or not, there are people out there who this is a big deal. Actually,
I know.
I was kind of. Okay.
Well, while you're gone, your Christmas people also called you.
Oh, yeah. So when I got home, I cut a special deal with my lawn care people that they would put my Christmas lights in early and I'd get a 10% discount. So when I got home, my whole house is lit up. I'm the only one in the whole neighborhood with Christmas lights on my house right now.
So they're actually, before Halloween, they're on.
Yes. Very early. But then I thought about it. We have a lot of friends who are huge Hallmark fans.
Right.
So I think I should just have a big countdown to Christmas watching party at my house.
You guys don't know, but Monica has a tree on every floor of her house. and it's not like it's 5 floors, but when you walk around her house, I think she should give kids tours at Christmas time.
I could. But anyway, I'm trying to justify.
It's a lot of fun.
Maybe I should just put the little Hallmark thing out front so it looks like people can think, oh, I see what she's doing.
Yeah.
Not, what kind of person puts Christmas lights up in
Well, the 5 of us also do
October?
something at Christmas with Hallmark, and we watch big time.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. And so that is why we were so excited to have with us our guest today. She has starred as the lead in over 20 films across various Hallmark channels. And she is part of that upcoming, or the Countdown to Christmas lineup. Her upcoming film is Our Holiday Story, which is airing on November 2nd. She has reprised her role as Goldie Berry in the 5th installment of the popular Curious Caterer mystery series, Curious Caterer Forbidden. You and I were talking about watching that as soon as we can. She's currently the president of the Foundation, the Board of Trustees for the Children's Hospital Los Angeles. She's a board member of Mind What Matters.
Yeah.
And putting these Mickey ears, she was part of the all-new, in the 90s, the all-new Mickey Mouse Club, where she starred with Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears, Ryan Gosling, Kerry Russell, and Christina Aguilar. Please welcome Nikki Deloach. Welcome to the Moms Club. We're so excited to have you here.
Hi,
We are
everyone.
beyond thrilled.
Yes, I honestly, meeting you, for my mother, who is a huge fan, June is a huge fan. I couldn't meet Elvis, and she couldn't be more excited that I was getting to meet you. So
That is so kind. Thank you, and shout out to June. Hi,
thank you. She
June.
will appreciate. Oh well,
She'll love that.
Thank you
She
for the love,
absolutely
June.
will love it. Well, tell us about our holiday story. So, if I'm going to have a Christmas countdown party at my house with lights and everything, what can they look forward to? What can my guests look forward to?
Feel good movie, obviously, but I've done a lot on the Hallmark Drama Mystery Channel, where I grieve a lot and I cry a lot, and I've done 5 years of those. And so this year I said to the network, can I please just do a comedy this year, just a feel good comedy? I've cried a lot. I'm tapped out on the crying.
Yeah, you're like, I got that covered on my own. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. You know, I always feel like I'm Holly Hunter in broadcast news. I find a place to cry once a day just to get it over with.
Right.
You know, because inevitably it will happen.
Yes.
But yeah, so our holiday story, it takes place in 2 different time periods. So present day, and then when myself and my husband met many years back. So there's a period piece aspect of it where the clothes got to change. It was the 90s or early 2000s, actually, early 2000s. And so that was super fun to kind of go back in time and take makeup off and put makeup on and make yourself look older in present day and younger in the past. And so it's really a story about serendipity and faith. And if 2 people are meant together, or if something is meant to happen, there's nothing anyone or anything can do to stand in the way of that.
Wow.
So it's, and it's fun and it's funny. It's very quirky. I've never, Joie Botkin wrote it, and she's one of my favorite Hallmark Christmas. She just writes beautiful Christmas movies. And she did a beautiful job with this. So I was really happy to go and do it and kind of be funny and not cry. I mean, I do cry once, but that's different than crying for a whole movie.
Yeah, I wondered if they ever cry in the Christmas movies at all, or if you ever get sad
I've
at all.
had to. Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So there's the Hallmark Channel proper, right? It's more comedy and more happy and uplifting, that kind of thing. And then there's the Hallmark Mystery or Hallmark Drama Channel, and they also do their own movies, and those are more dramatic in nature. They're meaningful. They're beautiful. I'd say the movies that I've made that I get the most feedback from fans are the ones I've done on that network. 5 More Minutes, which was about grief. The Gift of Peace was also about grief, a woman who found a grief group because she was stuck in her own grief after the loss of her husband. Those movies have been the most meaningful for people, for sure, and probably the ones I'm most proud of. Some of the ones I'm most proud of on the network. But this year I just really
cheery.
The world is heavy, and I just I wanted to be weird and silly, and I wanted to laugh and make other people laugh.
Well, and the world wants Hallmark because anyone I know that loves Hallmark, you can, like my mother, you can sit her in front of Hallmark. She could stay there for 4 weeks and just never move.
Yeah.
And be totally happy. And, it's not, there's rare
I know.
networks or things like
there's
that.
rare
out
joy
there,
like
so-
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know.
So-
Well, that's the reason, I did my first Hallmark movie in 2015. And when I got the response from my hometown, because I had never watched a Hallmark movie, I mean, of course I knew about the brand. It's a massive brand.
Yeah.
You can't buy a card that's not a Hallmark card,
Yeah.
really. I mean, they've been around for so long. But I didn't know the world of the movies that they make. And when I was with people in my hometown and their response to the movie, I was like, what is this? I've been doing this since I was 7, 8 years old, and I've never experienced this kind of response.
Like intense, loving feedback.
So passionately loving and hopeful and happy, and the joy was the word, that just like would come out of them. I thought, I think I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Like, of course we want to make the Successions of the world or TV shows like Veep and some of, but to actually bring people joy and comfort and peace, especially those that are going through really hard things, there's no greater gift if you're doing what we do in terms of bringing people content.
Yeah.
Well, you started your career bringing people joy because the Mickey Mouse Club, the all-new Mickey Mouse Club, that is so fun. And when I was thinking the whole cast, I mean, if you announce that cast right now, it's like, oh, wow, all of you are so successful. Julie and I went to a Justin Timberlake
sure
concert.
did.
Oh, which
and,
one?
Oh, my gosh.
In
He
Austin.
was in Austin.
And he's coming back.
The recent one.
Yes.
The world-
Wasn't
yeah,
it great?
I was going to ask you, I'm sure you've attended many,
I've seen,
but
this tour alone,
you-
I've seen 5 of his shows.
the dancing and his backup dancers and the way
I think
and
he's the greatest
everything.
How does
I
he
think
do that? I mean,
His
it's
whole
amazing.
whole team.
People don't understand. He's family,
Of course.
I know what he does. I know how hard he works. He's the hardest working person I know. And people don't understand what he puts into a show to make it look like it's as effortless as breathing. I was in a girl band where we sang and we danced.
And his mother managed, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me tell you, it is so hard. Get on a treadmill and try to sing, and then try to sing like he sings. Then you'll know how hard it is. Like literally get on a treadmill and run and try to sing. And that's what it's like. You're dancing, you're bouncing around, you're moving, and he's doing it for 2.5 hours.
3 hours, whatever,
a night. And he will go down in history as being one of the greatest performers of
all time.
All time.
He's incredibly talented.
Yeah.
But so are you. And I want to tell you that not only does she have done all these movies, but you actually have a podcast.
I do.
And you guys actually bring, even though it's talking about, caregivers of, you've had deeply affected by dementia, Alzheimer's, and I'm fanning hard because I'm a nurse. And so
I know. I listened to the podcast and heard you say that you were a nurse. What kind of nurse were you?
I was an ER nurse for 14 years, but I'm really considering doing hospice nursing. So, of course, I went cuckoo over Nurse Julie. Not my name's Julie, but
we have her in our one of our episodes.
Yes, I mean, that's what I was listening to. So, but I just want to touch base on that because what you guys are actually doing is bringing a little bit of joy in the grief that you have. And what you said, they do this great dance party, and what you said is it's really a love letter to our parents.
That's right.
And I love the way that you're honoring everything. So tell us a little bit about Mind What Matters.
Well, how did it all start for you that you got interested in that?
Well, so my road or my philanthropy with Alzheimer's and dementia started really in 2017.
Right.
So my grandfather actually passed away with vascular dementia, and that was its own journey in and of itself. And then in 2017, in the same week, I was pregnant with my youngest son, who was diagnosed with multiple congenital heart defects, and without immediate intervention, he would not survive. And in that same week, my dad was diagnosed with Pick's disease, which is a rare and aggressive form of dementia for which there is no cure. So I knew I was going to lose my dad, and I knew there was a chance that I could also lose my son, a big chance.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so talk about those moments, those markers in your life that it's like BC, like before Christ, like
right
before that.
All, yeah.
That forever will mark my life. It changed me on such a cellular level, and there has been a lot of trauma and pain and heartache and loss and grief. And also, I always say this because really, what other choice do we have if we want to live a happy, joyful, full life? I want to get to the end of my life and be like, I squeezed every ounce that I could out of this. I can't do that if I'm only resting inside of the sad or the victimization. It's so easy for us to be like, why us? Why us? Why us? Well, why not us?
Right.
It happens to people every day. Hard, sad, bad things. So why not you as well, right?
Yeah.
So what do we do with that? What do we do? I will say, like, sometimes life gives you like a pile of crap in your hand, and you're looking at it and you're like, this is steamy, it stinks, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
And what am I going to do with this? Well, how do we spin that into gold, right?
Right.
So I got involved with the Alzheimer's Association at first as a spokesperson, speaking at events. I led the Walk to End Alzheimer's in Los Angeles for many years, kicked off that event. And then the dance party specifically was started by Kimberly Williams Paisley. Her sister Ashley Williams and I have been friends since our 20s. We grew up in acting class together. And Kimberly was ready to hand the party over. So she handed it over to obviously her sister Ashley, and Ashley needed a partner. And so they, I think it was her brother Jay, because there's three of them. Jay suggested, what about Nikki? Why don't you ask Nikki?
Yeah.
So that's how I got involved with the dance. And this year, we just had our event, the Halloween edition, and we raised in that night, and we have another couple weeks of fundraising. It's still open. We raised $250,000.
Wow,
which is incredible. Great. And it all goes towards research grants. Yeah. So really we're focused on prevention. We now know, because of the money we have put into research in terms of prevention, we now know we can prevent this disease.
Right.
We have no cure, but we know we can prevent it. And we have ways in which we can prevent that. So this is what I always say, nobody's coming to save you.
No.
You have got to save yourself.
Yeah.
Put your pants on. Get your shoes on, as you said. Put your shoes on.
Put your shoes on.
Get out there and do something about it, because nobody's coming to save you. And then for Mind What Matters, my friend, who's become a dear friend, Elizabeth Humphreys, this was a podcast that originally existed years ago. She was caregiving for her mother who had Alzheimer's. She was really just looking to talk to people to get answers on how do you navigate this horrendous disease.
Wildly unexpected.
And be a caregiver. She had young kids at home. She was taking care of her mom. Like, how do you do this? And she put it on pause because she had to take care of her mom. And her mother passed away, not this past September, but the September before that. And I had a dream that we brought the podcast back.
Nice.
But it was the two of us, and we just focused on caregiving, and not just in the space of Alzheimer's and dementia, because what I've noticed is we're all caregivers in some way.
Yeah.
Yes.
As a nurse, for example, what I've watched these nurses do at Children's Hospital Los Angeles, and it makes me emotional to think about. They take care of our children all day long. They save their lives. Literally, they cradle these babies in their hands.
They are the parent when you cannot be there,
or when you're there. And they're like, even when you're there bedside, they're giving them meds, soothing them, doing all the things, and they're going from room to room to room to room, caregiving all day long. And then they have to go home.
Right.
And then they have to give care to their kids and their husband and their friends and their community. How are we doing this, women?
Yeah.
How are we doing this? So
with each other and with people like you, it's really important because today when I was listening to you, that you really pointed out that the suck is going to come.
The suck is
Embrace
gonna
it,
come.
right? So you actually say something, and I think it's you, that said, you never really heal. You recover.
Yes.
And I thought, oh my God, because what we've been dealing with our parents this year, I've basically been running, without any disrespect to my parents, an adult daycare. Sometimes
That's
I'll
right.
take my mom somewhere and she comes out and we're in the parking lot and she goes, now what I do? And I was like, you get in the
Yes.
car. And so it comes and goes.
Yes.
And so what you're bringing light to is amazing because it can, like MS, we work on a cure, and Alzheimer's, we're working on a cure. So I really wanted to talk about your podcast because the
Thank you.
caregivers and want to help spread the word about it because the caregivers need to know that they're not alone.
They're not alone. Yes, it's called Mind What Matters, everybody.
Yes.
Please check it out.
Yes.
Thank you for bringing attention to it because it really is a labor of love. And for me and Liz, I mean, I get anywhere between 1 and 2 calls a week.
That this is happening.
A lot of people I don't even know, like whether it's Children's Hospital, they know what I've gone through with my kid. They know I'm involved. They reach out via Instagram. My child needs a liver transplant. I don't know where to go. How do I get into the hospital? I got you. What's your cell phone number? Let me take care of this for you. Or my dad, I think, was just diagnosed with Alzheimer's, but I'm not sure. Like, what's going on? Can you talk me through this? Or both of us. And so this podcast is really a way for us to talk about all of that and so much more, but especially caregiving.
Yeah. Critical.
No, it is so helpful, and especially as our parents are living longer, it's becoming more of an issue.
Yes.
And you just learn things that you don't intuitively understand until someone says to you, well, my parent repeats the same story over and over and over again, or tells me something 3 times in an hour. And initially your reaction is to correct that person. And instead we're told, don't correct that person because that makes them think, well, what's wrong?
Totally.
Yeah.
And so, but
Yes.
you learn so much about how to be compassionate because, hey, let's all face it, someday we may be sitting in that seat, and
we
have our
can't
kids.
all be Jane Fonda. right?
Exactly.
So it's true. With my dad, it's just something I innately knew how to do, and I don't know if it's because I had a kid that was very ill and for years, and so caregiving was just something that I had to, it was like a crash course in it, right? Oh, here's this baby that just had open heart surgery that you have to bring home from the hospital. And in that first 2 years, we had 3 heart surgeries, and it was more hospital ER visits than I can count.
Yeah.
And so when he said things like, the sky is purple. Yeah, Dad, that's the most beautiful purple sky I've ever seen in my life. Don't fight it.
Right.
Let the moments with them just be filled with joy and
you're
fun
grieving
and
too. Like you want to be like,
yeah.
that's not right.
Death
you need
by
to do
1,000
this.
paper cuts.
It's just like you got to embrace it.
You do. You do.
Because it is an uphill battle on that.
Yeah.
Well, with the children's hospital piece, so my son was in the NICU, so I was on bed rest for 2.5 months.
Was he premature?
He was premature.
Very
premature. Okay.
And so, his story is he was premature, and so he was in the NICU for like 10 weeks, and then he had to have a surgery and all of that. And then later on in his life, he had a bad accident and had traumatic brain injury. So we're like,
I'm so
how many lives
sorry.
does this kid have? He's still hanging in there, and he's doing well.
He's got some angels.
Yeah.
He does. But it's hard to, have your child going through that. Watching your parent is difficult, but what was that like for you? That's a lot to know your child is get born in that situation and that
Yes.
you're going to face that immediately. And we knew once I went into early labor what we were facing.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, it's brutal. It is so brutal. And in fact, I don't know if you experienced this, but, for me, I had a moment earlier this year. So it's been 7 years. Bennett just turned 7 in September. So this year, 7 years ago, he was born. And earlier this year, I went to meet a friend for lunch, and I'm helping families to learn how to give a mission moment at Children's Hospital Los Angeles. People who want to share their story, who want to support the hospital. So I'm helping them kind of give them a template for a speech. Like, this is kind of how it looks, and this is what you can talk about and share. And, so I had to put a speech together as a template with audio or with video and pictures. And so because I talk about the first time leaving the hospital, I needed to find that video. I'm sitting there in the valet waiting for my car,
Sure.
and I finally get to the video, and I'm thinking, like, how have I not seen this video? I've watched the second time we came home and the third time we came home. How have I not seen this video? And I pull it up and I'm watching, and then my body just starts shaking. Like, I just start shaking and tears start coming up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm about to lose it, waiting in this line in the valet.
Valet thinks he's going to get it. Like,
Totally.
that's something's wrong. Yeah.
My car needs to come, and I get in the car, and I sob so uncontrollably. I cannot breathe sobbing.
Yeah.
It has taken me 7 years for my body to go, okay, now you can begin to recover.
Yeah.
Now it's okay. It's safe to recover.
Yeah.
Because for so many years, every time you got sick, it was an ER visit. Every time something happened, when you have a kid that's gone through something like that, it gives you PTSD. You have trauma from it. Your hypervigilant brain it drives the truck. And what that means is it's driving all the time.
Right. No breaks.
It's not giving you the breaks that you need. So last year, I went into really intense trauma therapy. And I was able to take that part of my brain and not make it go away, because we are who we are.
Right.
And I think that so many of us sometimes don't succeed in recovery, in therapy, because we're trying to get rid of these pieces of us that don't feel good. And instead of that, we need to get close to them and get to know them and embrace them.
Right.
That hypervigilant part of who I am saved my son's life.
Yeah.
It also saved my grandfather when he collapsed and we didn't know what was going on, and I sprung into action. It saved my grandmother after she had 2 double strokes on Christmas Day. It took care of my dad. That part of my brain, I need that.
Yeah.
She just doesn't need to drive the car all the time. Or she's going to drive us off a cliff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was about really taking her, putting her in the back seat. And because I was able to do that, I was able to have that moment. And now I'm back in trauma therapy, really working on that time with Bennett. I don't know how I did it.
That's what our doctor told me at one point, because I was going through all that with Jared, and finally she said, take a break, take a breath, Monica. She said, he'll be fine. You'll be scarred for life, but he'll be fine.
That's what I say about raising my 17-year-old daughter. She'll be fine, but I'll be scarred for life.
We have some moms who have some questions for you. We have our Zoomer moms. So welcome, Zoomer moms. Welcome to the Moms Club.
Hi.
Well, ladies, this is a very special treat, and it's a special treat for you because you each get to ask 2 questions. It's not usual that we do this, and it's 2 very well thought out questions because we only have a few minutes. So let's start with Jan. Jan, tell us a little bit about yourself, and what are your questions for Nikki?
You're on mute,
You're
Jan.
on mute, Jan.
She's like, someone push a button. Someone push a button.
I understand that feeling.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
All right.
Sorry about that, Nikki.
Oh, it's okay, Jan.
I'm really glad to meet you.
You too.
I had a limousine service here in Dallas for 30 years, and I also sang with Patsy Cline's original band for many years. So I'm a singer, and I also had my own service. But I was so happy to hear all this about the Alzheimer's. I took care of my mother when she had Alzheimer's for, I guess, 3.5 years. And now I have an autistic godson that I care for and that lives with me full time.
Bless you. Thank you for doing that.
You're very welcome. But I've followed you for many years, and I have a girlfriend named Jenny Nolan who is addicted to Hallmark.
Hi, Jenny.
It on 24/7. She never changes it. And I mean, we took 2 trips to Hawaii last year, and it's on 24/7. You go to Hawaii and all you have is Hallmark on. It's just crazy. She's so addicted to it.
Oh, thank you,
So I
Jenny.
asked you, first of all, thank you for being on the show today. And I want to ask you about the Hallmark Christmas movie, Our Holiday Story. Can you tell us something about it?
Yes, well, I can tell you, my co-star, Warren Christie, who's a phenomenal actor and so wonderful to work with. And it's such an incredible cast on this one. And, the thing is, my character and Warren's character, you meet us in the beginning of the movie and we're in 2024. We're aged up a little bit, and he has a daughter in her 20s, and her boyfriend, or the person that she's currently dating, shows up at the house, and he unfortunately asked us about our love story and how we found each other. And the movie is about us telling that story and going back in time and seeing it happen in real life. And while this youngin' is dealing with will his own love story work out, right? So that's kind of the fun in it, is that we go back and forth in time. And what I was saying earlier is just if people are meant to be, and if something is meant to happen, there's nothing we can do to ruin that. There's nothing that we can do to make that not happen, right? And I have to, by the way, I have to remind myself of this all the time. I think the anxiety of youth, so much of that is having anxiety that things are not going to work out, that we wish or that we dream. And my grandmother, my Nana, always used to say, when something didn't happen, she would say, well, honey, it just means that it's either not meant to happen, man's rejection is God's protection, or it's not meant to happen now.
Not today. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's a story that reminds us all of that.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
You just mentioned your grandmother, and your grandmother was a very important part of your whole career. So
I wouldn't have a
different
career without
moms.
her.
Yeah, isn't that? I mean, tell us just a little bit about. So she moved you out here to LA to help you with your career?
Well, technically, I was going to do it with or without anyone. I was that child.
But you were 10, weren't you?
So they figured they might as well send an adult. People ask me all the time, would you put your kids in this industry?
Yeah.
The answer is I would never put my kid in this industry. But if they were the kid that I was, which was, come hell or high water, I was doing this. If I had to run away from home and do this, I was going to do this.
Yeah.
I started at 3. That was all I wanted to do.
Right.
And if that was my kid, I would support them and give them the tools and do whatever. And that's what my grandmother did. Dance lessons, vocal lessons, whatever competition. She bought my dresses for the competitions, or for my talent competition. She bought my outfits, and she's was the reason.
Kid, I'm all in. I'm behind you.
I won a talent competition that brought me to LA. And I was 11 at the time, and there was a bunch of agents that wanted to sign me and wanted us to move to LA. And my mom was like, my daughter's not moving to LA. Right. I'm just going to tell you that right now. And
in her Georgia accent.
My grandmother kind of sidled up to one of the agents and said, well, what can she do where we live? And one of the agents said, there's going to be auditions for the new Mickey Mouse Club. They're going to be casting new members. If you have a local agent, tell them to look out for that. And sure enough, a year from then, I was 12 years old, got my first audition. But the reason I have a career and my biggest cheerleader in the world is my grandmother.
So when you're up there giving your speech, accepting your Emmy Award, I know the first person you're going to think is your grandmother.
Yes.
I guess that, I mean, I know we have another question, but I guess the support I should be giving my daughter, Georgia, is moving to LA in February. I had to kindly remind her she doesn't have a job, but go for it.
Yeah. Well, she said she expects you just to buy her an apartment.
She expects me to pay rent.
She doesn't have a job or anything.
I don't think I signed up for that, but
I like that. No, you didn't sign up for that.
Yeah.
Angel, welcome to the Moms Club. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and do you have a question?
Yes, I do. Thank you so very much. And I'd like to thank your guest today for such an incredible story and being so transparent. My background is in radio as well as television, among some other things. But I do have a question for you. Most people look at success, or they want to be on television, or they want to be in the lights and whatnot. But is there a specific lesson you've learned through your challenges with your family that has shaped your view on success?
Yes.
God, good question, Angel. I mean, way to bring it.
Bringing the depth. P.S. You could even look on my Instagram. It says small talk survivor because I do not know how to do small talk. Like I'm the person that's like, who invited this girl that wants to talk about grief and stuff to the party? I love this question, and the reason I love it is because I struggled so much, right? My mother and I had a very complicated relationship, and we now have a beautiful relationship that we've worked so hard for, but she was 21 when she had me. Yeah. And, I wanted her love so deeply, and I just spent my childhood not getting that, right? And so when you're a kid that doesn't get the love that she really needs, then you get into an industry and you're chasing that love from the people in it. So you're constantly chasing love and acceptance and validation through external sources. And you know where I'm going with this. So I think as a society, it's not even just about the entertainment business. I look at my son who's not in the entertainment business, who's 11, who's constantly seeking his self-worth on the outside, and I'm constantly reminding him that is an internal job. You will, if you are trying to get that outside of yourself, you will be empty and you will be chasing that your entire life and you will never find satisfaction. And so I think it's something that's relatable to everybody. My idea of success now is, am I a safe person?
Yeah.
Am I a safe person for myself? Am I a safe space for other people? Am I a person that people can depend on? Am I a person that people can come to and say, this is what I'm going through. Can you help hold this for me? And so my whole definition of what success means, it is not financial. It is not my resume. It is not the things I've accomplished in terms of awards or whatever. That is not real. Right? And while I love it, and while it matters because we have to pay bills and health insurance and all of that, so it's legit life and death in terms of being able to support our families, true. But it does not determine our worth.
Yeah.
So it's changed a lot.
I love that you've worked on your legacy. So
I love this. I love it. What? I love it. You know who I'm going to write in for president on my ballot?
I think you.
What an inspiring person!
I don't think she wants the job.
I know. It's a thankless job
for you anyway.
But yes, you are because you're just so. You're a problem solver, which I love.
I love solving problems,
and I think that's just amazing.
I actually really enjoy it.
She's also a judge. You do know this. She's judging Mr. Christmas, which I need to know. What the qualities are to be Mr. Christmas. I don't really. What is that?
Angel, I don't know if you've heard of this show. It's called Finding Mr. Christmas. It's on Hallmark streaming. And my dear, dear friend, Jonathan Bennett, he hosted it with Melissa Peterman. And when Jonathan texted me and said, I need you to come and judge the finale, and I need you to be a part of the finale. And I was like, what am I doing? He's like, don't worry about it. I'll tell you when you get here. Just say yes.
Just say yes.
So I got on a plane. I showed up to set. He gives me this script. And I read it, I'm reading, and I see that I'm doing the climax resolution scene with the boys. So there's the remaining contestants, and I realize I have to kiss every single one of them.
I was like, I have to ask her what is going. Yeah, wow.
Jonathan, you didn't tell me I have to kiss all of them. And he goes, "You're welcome.
You're welcome." Yeah.
Anyway, it's more than that. It's so fun, and
so they have to be a good kisser. That's one of the qualities.
Well, part of the qualities is really, being able to act in the scenes. But what they're really looking for is at Hallmark. And I think anybody who gets to know the talent, it's so funny. We'll have new executives come in, new people come in terms of leadership. And they come in with this, these ideas, right? Of well, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And these people have been here forever and blah, 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 blah. And they're not really family. They're not really, they can't be love each other as much as they do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then they are with us for a week and they go, oh, wow. Oh. Everybody actually really does love each other. Mm-hmm. They are a family. And so then their hearts are changed inside of that, right? Because they're like, I love being a part of this family. This is great. And so it really is about like the show itself, you know, Jonathan calling on the family to come in, and you have to kind of embody, it's a feeling that you have to have when you work for Hallmark as an actor. It's not just what you're doing on the screen, it's how you live your life and how you're showing up. Big open hearts, love, really appreciating the audience and getting what we do, what we get to do for other people.
Well, no cast that I know, and I think you do this with the Hallmark Channel. Y'all did that tour at the East Coast.
The holiday bus tour.
And you went to CHOP.
We did.
And CHOP is a very special place.
Yes.
For those who know, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia is one of the best in the world.
Yes.
And so to do that and get to live that and work that and spread that, I can't say enough about the people you work with.
Thank you. We got to literally start in Washington, D.C. It was a brainchild of Annie Howell. I have to give her a shout out, and Shayna Ray Julian, who put together this entire thing. It was massive. It was huge. I'm blown away by what they put together. And we started in Washington, D.C. and did Christmas rallies.
All over?
And stopping at CHOP along the way, which was something that I had really wanted to do when they started dreaming.
I'm sure you were a puddle through the whole tour that day.
I got to hug so many mothers, and that's the thing. It's like, I've been that mother that, you know, of course all the focus needs to be on the children, and of course all the resources and support, and there needs to be a light that that is shown on the doctors and nurses and staff and what the amazing things they're doing at CHOP. And also, the people who are forgotten inside of it are the mothers that are at bedside day in and day out,
and they are bone
terrified.
Tired.
I say that bone tired.
Yeah.
That they get to see you, but they may not be able to register that getting to meet you because of the exhaustion, mentally, physically.
Well, it is so true. That's another, the caregivers, because, being the mom. Okay, Zoomer moms.
Yes.
You each get one rapid fire question.
Rapid fire. Go.
So, like, what's your favorite color? Whatever. Okay, Jan, question for Nikki.
Nikki, I want to know about Mind What Matters.
Oh, great. Okay.
I can't wait to watch your podcast.
Thank you so much. Well, Mind What Matters nonprofit, which the podcast is now an extension of.
Yes.
It's a nonprofit organization where we give financial grants to caregivers of loved ones with neurodegenerative illnesses. So that's Alzheimer's, dementia, ALS, Parkinson's, any neurodegenerative illness. And so it's a way for us to go, because caregivers sometimes need help now. So what can we do, right? And Liz dreamed up this idea. She founded the organization of like literally putting money in the pockets of caregivers so that they can go to their doctor's appointments. They can bring somebody in for the day, for the week, and say, can you help me with my mom or my dad this week? Because I got to go get my heart checked. I haven't had a physical in 2 years.
Right.
I need to get my hair done because I haven't had my hair done. Like whatever it is. There was one woman that we were able to give a care grant to. She has alopecia, and she was able, her dream was to compete in a pageant and where the women had alopecia. And she went and she did it, and she put her dress on, and man, did she look amazing. And because of the care grant, she was able to go and do this thing that had been a dream of hers for so many years, was just to take back and show the world, like, I might have this thing, but look how beautiful and strong and courageous and brave I am. And it allowed her to be able to go back to return to caregiving with something in her motor. She did something for herself.
That is
so that is the impact of Mind What Matters nonprofit, and what,
thanks so much for your inspiration.
Yeah, that is.
I would love to talk about beauty pageants, but we'll do that.
Yes, she's from Dallas. She's from Dallas.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Angel,
Anyway, go ahead, Angel.
You have a quick question.
Okay, I've got like 1,000 questions, but since it has to be rapid fire,
yes,
I just want to know, what was your favorite role you ever played and why?
Great question.
I would have to say Lacey Hamilton on Awkward. I had the dream of playing her for almost 6 years of my life, and And she was a totally ridiculous human being. I mean, I had like this contraption that made me look like I had giant breasts, and I wore this tightest little outfits and heels, and her whole story was that she was the most popular girl in high school and had a fall from grace when she was 16 and got pregnant. And so her daughter and her are so close in age, and she's trying to live her life vicariously through her young daughter, who is so different from her and who has no interest in being popular or any of the things that she was.
Terrifying.
And so it's a comedy, but it's also heartfelt. And Lauren Unerick created it, and she just created something so special, and that role for me will go down in history as being my favorite thus far. Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
this has just all been so great. You are truly, as we say on the Moms Club, l'amazing, not just amazing. Truly the word extraordinary. I would put on you. All the things you do, and you're so talented and so giving, and so
you glow, girl. You glow. You really do. And I know you're exhausted, but you glow, and of all the stuff that you have going on. You remind me of my friend Lacey. We had on the show. She has a clever podcast called Every Widow Thing, and it's less deep, less dark, less often. And you know what I mean? Because you teach that through your podcast as well, because these things are going to come.
Yeah, they are.
So
we have to learn how to find joy and celebrate even when we're in the valley. We tell ourselves all the time, well, I'll do that trip when. I will go and do this thing when. I will do, and there might not be a when. That is what I've learned.
That's right.
Because there might be another hard thing, and the more that we can learn to be comfortable in the uncomfortable, the more that we can learn that we can celebrate and find joy and find moments of happiness inside the valley. That is the full life. That is what we're seeking. That's what we're wanting and hungry for. And we can do it.
Say yes, and your dad would want you to do it.
Yeah.
Well, he was the one. I was coming out of my first year of grief with him. And after that first year anniversary, something horrific happened to a really dear friend, and she lost her son. And we had the funeral services on the first anniversary of my dad's passing. And I have never seen, that was the most horrific thing I've ever witnessed in my life. And I went and crawled in bed, and I didn't get out. And my dad came to me in a dream, and he said, baby girl, it is time for you to get out of bed. And if this can't wake you up and teach you that you got to celebrate and find the joy and do all the things, then nothing's going to. So get up. And so it was my dad who did wake me up.
Well, we're so happy you did.
Yes.
So many people out there are as well. Well, thank you. Well, so besides your film on Friday is on the second,
our holiday
Saturday.
story.
Where else can our listeners find you on social media?
Oh yes, I always
you have
forget
a good social media.
Yeah,
following.
tell us, because
if you want to see a lot of dancing and a lot of silliness, come find me at Nick Deloach, NIKDELOACH, Deloach, and then our holiday story airs. Curious Cater will still continue to air on the Mystery Network, and also Finding Mr. Christmas is on Hallmark Plus on our new streaming platform.
I'm going to watch that.
I'm watching that.
With no shirts on, lots of muscles, holding puppies and taking pictures.
It's like a firefighter calendar.
Yes, I'm definitely going to watch that one.
It actually is. It's like every woman I know, you want to watch this show.
All right. That's why I asked the question.
We will definitely tune into that. Well, thank you so much. Well, we also want to thank our sponsor, Newcom, because Newcom is the reason that we're sitting here.
It keeps us friends,
It keeps it, because Newcom, so we sometimes have to share a hotel room.
Sometimes.
We're traveling on the road, and Newcom helps us sleep better. It makes Julie calm, which is a huge thing if you're spending time with
it. It also has magnesium in it, I just want to say. And you could do your own research, but magnesium is really, really, really good for women.
Very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's going to be another show, I think, about all of that.
Yeah. Well,
so I can come and talk to you about it.
We would have you on.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
It's spelled NUCALM, and if you put Moms Club in the code at checkout, you're going to get 15% off every month of your subscription.
I'm all about sleeping
So we're
better,
all for
being
that.
kind, and being
It's
calm.
being focused. It's what you want and need, moms. Well, I cannot believe that we are already out of time, Julie.
I could do it all day.
I definitely
yeah.
could. Just like watching Hallmark. I mean, we could just sit and talk to her all day. It's like the same kind of thing. This would be great.
I know.
Well, thank you, moms, for being with us. We will be back next time with other extraordinary celebrities and moms out there that are doing wonderful things. We know that your me time is precious and valuable. Thank you so much for spending it with us. What's our motto, Julie, though, that's more important than anything? If you don't laugh sometimes,
You are going to cry.
You're going to cry. So don't cry, moms. Keep laughing.
That's
and we're going
right.
to see you next time inside the Moms Club.